All right, let's get right into it. We're going to start with something that seems, well, a little weird. A single observation that just doesn't quite fit. But you're about to see it's not a mistake. It's a clue. Just let that sit for a moment. Kratom, an unregulated, pretty controversial plant, just sitting there on the shelf of a massive corporate convenience store. Now, this isn't really an explainer about the plant itself. Not at all. This sentence, it's a signal. You should think of it like a line of code from a program that accidentally gets printed to the screen. It doesn't look like it belongs, but it actually reveals the hidden logic of the whole system. So what we're going to do here is read that code together. We're going to figure out the real rules that govern what's allowed on our shelves and what isn't. Okay, so first things first. Let's look at the mechanism that even makes something like this possible. It's a concept the source material calls regulatory laundering. So here's the key idea. The product itself doesn't actually have to be officially approved, as long as it's sold in a place that we're all conditioned to see as safe or normal. The corporate setting, the familiar gas station, the big chain store, it launders the product's sketchy status. It makes it feel legitimate just by being there. So what makes a product the perfect candidate for this system? Well, here's the algorithm. And notice, it's not about what the product is, it's about what it allows. It has to be unregulated, so it can live in that gray zone. It's got to be profitable, obviously. Habit forming, well, that ensures repeat business. But these last two are absolutely critical. It must be deniable at the corporate level and buffered by layers of corporate structure. So if anything goes wrong, the risk is already minimized. And Kratom, it checks every single box. But here's the thing. This isn't just about one product. Not even close. That 5-step algorithm we just saw, it's a template. And if we zoom out, we start to see the system running the exact same program over and over and over again with all kinds of different substances. And this is the core insight. The real goal isn't necessarily public safety or banning bad things. When you actually look at how the system behaves, its primary function is to control the channels of distribution. It's all about who gets permission to sell and who gets punished for trying. This breaks it down perfectly. What emerges is this two-tier system. Tier 1 is for the big guys, the predictable corporate channels. They're easy to monitor, easy to tax, easy to pressure. They get a pass. But Tier 2, that's for the independent small-scale sellers, the vape shops, the herbal stores. They're seen as unpredictable, hard to control, so they become the targets for raids and crackdowns. And look, this isn't some one-off theory. We have seen this exact playbook run with Delta-8 THC, with the early CBD beverage market, even with entire state-level cannabis systems. The pattern is always the same. Protect, or at least tolerate, the substance when it flows through corporate-approved channels, while criminalizing it when it flows through independent ones. So, if we zoom out from all these individual examples, what is the master algorithm? What's the one rule driving this whole entire system? This is where it all snaps into focus. To really see the machine for what it is, you have to throw out the labels we're used to. Legal, illegal, medical, recreational. According to this analysis, those are just words on the surface. The operating system running underneath is much, much simpler. It follows one fundamental rule. And there it is. That's the key. The central thesis, the system's response to any substance, I don't care if it's a plant, a chemical, or a pill, is not determined by its effect on your body or how risky it is. It's determined by who profits from it and who controls its sale. Period. Now, the real power of this algorithm is that it makes all the hypocrisy disappear. It resolves the contradictions. You ever wonder why Purdue Pharma, a centralized distributor of opioids, was protected for so long, while street fentanyl is a national crisis? Or why alcohol, sold through taxable corporations, is celebrated, while psilocybin, which you can grow yourself, is demonized? The algorithm gives you the same clean answer every time. It's all about control of the channel. This right here, this visualizes the whole hierarchy of control. At the very top, you have the protected class, corporations, oligopolies. In the middle, you've got the gray markets, your gas stations and vape shops. They're tolerated, mostly because they're great for gathering data on what people want. And at the bottom, you have any channel that promotes autonomy, home growers, local herbalists, anyone outside the centralized system, and they are actively criminalized. Why? Because they can't be controlled. So what does this all actually mean for you? Well, understanding this algorithm isn't just some neat intellectual trick. It gives you a brand new lens, a new way to see the world.
This is such a powerful way to put it. It perfectly summarizes the system's built-in bias. A predictable, taxable, controllable dependency is always preferable to a form of wellness or relief that is decentralized, unpredictable, and outside the system's economic control.
And that is the fundamental shift in your perspective. Most people see a headline about a vape shop raid or a new product showing up at a gas station, and they just see isolated events. But once you have this framework, you don't see events anymore. You see the underlying protocol, the repeatable set of rules that's generating those events in the first place. So, to put it all together in one final clear metaphor, think of all of this like a computer. The distribution channels, that's the fundamental operating system. The regulations we all argue about, that's just access control, setting user permissions. Law enforcement, that's the firewall, blocking any unapproved traffic. The public stories we're told, that's the user interface, hiding all the ugly code. And what we all believe is true? Well, that's just the final image that gets rendered on the screen. So, I'll just leave you with this one question. Now that you can see the code, now that you have a key to decode this one part of the system, what other things in the world that seemed contradictory or just plain confusing suddenly start to make a whole lot more sense? What other hidden algorithms can you now begin to see?